Everybody, and welcome back to another movie review. I'm Chase Lee, and the movie I want to take a look at right now is Capone. Now, this one comes from Braun and Vertical Entertainment. It is directed, written, and edited by Josh Trank, and this one stars Tom Hardy as Al Capone. And at this point in his life, he's 47 years old, and after 10 years in prison, starts to suffer from dementia and comes to be haunted by his violent past. And so that's your movie for sure. Sounds pretty straightforward, but my word, is this movie bizarre. So, I saw this movie. I was looking forward to it because of Tom Hardy. I wanted to see Josh Trank kind of bounce back from Fantastic Four back in 2015. He needed a win for sure. He was dragged through the mud quite a bit. I don't know all the behind-the-scenes stories, but either way, as a filmmaker, you kind of want to write your own path there and try to make a better film so you can be back on top, because I know a lot of people like Chronicle, including myself. So I was rooting for him. And, I heard a lot of weird things about this movie going into it, because I never saw a trailer or anything. But, I want to adapt for you guys. I want to find stuff on VOD and streaming service to talk about because it might look interesting and review it for you. So this is the one I chose. Everyone else was doing it, so here's my 2 cents. I'm glad I sat on this movie because at first I was like, it's whatever. I don't know if I can really say it's a bad movie because there's a lot of good stuff in it and a lot of interesting stuff in it. So I'm on the fence with 2 separate grades, and they will make a difference on whatever one I say. So let me just talk it out with you guys and see where I land on it, because I might hate it by the end of the way I describe it. But the way Josh Trank handles the story, and a lot of directors could go down the path of like a traditional biopic, cradle to the grave story. We get to see their whole life. Bada bing, bada boom, you're in, you're out, you're done. Trank takes a different approach, and we see the final year in this man's life where he is just an empty sack of a human. He's peeing his pants, he's pooping in the bed, he's at his worst. The dementia is getting worse, the syphilis is getting worse. It's just, we're seeing this person deteriorate before our very eyes, and we're witnessing everything. And that's the way Trank wants to do it, and make it more into like a horror film, and how dementia is a real life horror for some people. And that's an interesting approach. And I won't dog him for trying something new, because like I said, biopics are pretty traditional when it's all said and done, and I like them, but I also like when directors can step up to the plate and approach it in a new way, something that we've never seen before, and really kind of diving into how this, how dementia and syphilis has really affected his last year. It was horrific to see. It was, disturbing to see, and see, him kind of dream up his past like that. It's just, everything about it was unsettling and unnerving and disturbing on every single level. And I thought that was about it. The core concept of this movie is interesting. And if he wanted to kind of dive deeper into it, I think that's probably what he should have done. I feel like this was like a surface level approach to him losing his mind. It's very repetitive. It just kind of does the same thing in each scene over and over again. We don't know what he is dreaming up of, in the fact that if it's real or not, but that's about it. I don't really understand taking this approach for the story and not really doing anything with it. It's just kind of there, and we're seeing this man kind of deteriorate before our very eyes, and he's an awful human being. And dementia is something that is serious and, shouldn't be really messed with in movies unless it's handled properly. I also thought this film was kind of weird on its tone approach, because in some scenes it really felt like a slapstick comedy, and that does have to do a lot with Tom Hardy's performance, but it didn't feel like it was a serious enough movie. It just, everything about it just had this parody feel to it, and that's not what you want when you're portraying dementia and any of that, even regardless of who the person is. It's a serious thing, and I thought the tone was kind of all over the place too. Yeah, it's such a weird movie. I applaud the approach. It's brave and it's bold to do something like this in this genre. It just wasn't executed properly. It left me feeling cold and disturbed. And I get that it's Capone, but it has to do more with like the filmmaking approach to this, and more of like the editing of this film is kind of all over the place. And like I said, in terms of tones and execution, I don't know. I feel like the stepping stones were there, but I just thought Trank kind of stumbled a little bit. And once again, applaud the approach. It just didn't work for me in the long run. The production design is great. The lavish lifestyle of Al Capone, and the costuming and everything. It does feel like you're watching this old gangstery type movie, and that does add some flair to the overall story. So I do appreciate that. Tom Hardy aside, the performances. Linda Cardellini is always great, and no matter what she's in, and it's sad to say that because she's in some flamers sometimes, some flaming piles of poop, but yeah, she was good. Matt Dillon was fine. Everyone else was fine. I feel like if they would have dug deeper into their characters, they would have really brought out a performance that is unlike them, and we could see something different. But everyone was just kind of skating by. Okay, so let's talk about what everyone else is talking about. Tom freaking Hardy. It's bad. I love Tom Hardy. I love the fact that he can just pop in something like Venom and then do something like Lawless or Bronson, and just his career is wild and crazy, and I love that. I want to see where that guy goes next on his next project, and I will be there to support him. I don't know what he was doing in this. Like, it is borderline satirical, cartoonish type of accent. It is atrocious. It's like it's that type of stuff for the almost 2-hour runtime on this thing, and it's unbearable. And it's not just the accent; it's the actual performance too. It's very, like I said, cartoony. Just the way he moves and grunts and stuff. And like, I get that Capone was a cold-hearted monster, but like, I don't know what this was. It was like seeing like Tom Hardy have an aneurysm and or a stroke or something, and it was captured on film. And then Josh Trank was like, "Well, yeah, that works. I was going for something else, but I think this works, and it'll take its place." Nothing about it worked for me. It was, like I said, it was very funny to watch, and that's not what I want in a movie about someone experiencing dementia, which is a real life horror. It didn't feel appropriate, and it felt like he was in a completely different movie. If you wanted to go in the more cartoony, gangsterish route, do that. Make it the whole movie though. Don't focus on the dementia thing. Maybe do his earlier part of his life. Then you would have had something. You would have had a comedy, or I don't know, just anything. But everything about his performance was off. There was a couple times where it would kind of poke through, maybe with like his eyes or the way he was expressing the emotions in his face, that could have worked. Just so much waste in this movie. It kind of irritated me. But everyone else was trying. I realized that Tom Hardy was trying, just not for me, man. So I don't know what else more to say. It's a very confusing movie because it has a nice kind of building block for a movie and the way you could have done this, but I thought it was mishandled. The tone was all over the place. The main performance was all over the place. It doesn't dig deep enough to justify handling dementia this way. Everything about it just felt weird and off. And I realized that Josh Trank wanted to go for something different. Just didn't land for me. I'm debating on C-, D+ type of territory. I'll go with a D+, because the plus is for production design, costuming, and some of the other performances do a decent enough job to carry the film through, but that's about it for me. Everything else just No, thank you. So check this one out if this one interests you. If you want to see a movie on Al Capone, you want to see something different, you want to see a horror movie approach to this man's life, then go for it. Do not be shy from renting this thing or buying this thing because of what I said. Please go support it regardless and check it out if this does generally interest you. So, but it did not work for me. So let me know down below what you thought of Capone. Please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and if you're listening on the podcast feed, Real Me and Cole in the Movie Podcast, subscribe to that feed so you can get more reviews in podcast form if that's more your bag. And that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. Capone was very weird, guys. I'll see you guys later.